Happy New Year, friends. Hope you had a good start to 2025. I got a feeling it's going to be an amazing year, and I'm really excited for it. Big plans for the channel, for my business, and I'm really excited for it. But I'm generally a very positive person, and I think also the stock markets, crypto markets looking pretty exciting going forward. But anyhow, before we look too far into the future, let's also, as every month, take a second to look back and review the passive income I got in the last month of 2024 for December, as well as a portfolio update of all my various holdings, except for real estate. I'll probably do a future video on this, but basically all my stocks, ETFs, and cryptocurrency, as well as passive income I get from interest, cashback, and dividends. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Let's kick things off with my ETF holdings over here on eToro. I obviously have a number of brokers that I use, but eToro being the most recent ones I would use, the latest edition also, and the one I'm most excited about. I made a whole video about this before. You can check it out afterwards, why I like it so much. So I here don't want to touch too much on it, but it definitely offers a lot of great perks and benefits. And yeah, you can see really my portfolio having developed very nicely over time. If I jump into the portfolio, you can see I'm basically buying, as I have been on pretty much most brokers, 2 ETFs. Actually, just in recent times, in 2024, I started adding the Nasdaq 100 iShares ETF. Previously, I was all in on the S&P 500, the SPY5. I buy the one in dollars in London. That's distributing one, but obviously there are different versions of that. It just happens to be the cheapest one at an expense ratio of only 0.03%. So that's really unbeatable, and I'm really happy with this. Of course, the Nasdaq one is slightly more expensive. I believe it's 0.3%, but also you get more tech exposure and therefore potentially higher returns. So it's worthwhile for me to pay a slightly higher fee for that. And yeah, overall, obviously you can see here how the portfolio has developed. Obviously at some stage I was up quite significantly more, but obviously towards the end of December, markets corrected a little bit, but I'm still slightly in the plus. And honestly, guys, once again, while I do these monthly update videos, I really couldn't care less, right? Even if this number was red for 1, 2, 3 months, I honestly, generally don't care. Yes, it's nice to see the green, but I'm a long-term investor. I'm investing for the next 10, 15, 20, 30 years, right? So few months corrections, I really, really don't care. It just doesn't make a difference to me. I'm not a trader, right? Then you want to try to time the market, sell at the top, buy at the bottom. And here I don't have to worry about it. I just buy every single week. Right now, I'm buying basically every single Monday or Tuesday or Wednesday, any day of the week where I see a slight dip in the markets when it's red. I invest currently $600. Hopefully in 2025, I'll increase that number to a higher amount per week. Overall, I'm trying to split between the two, 65 to 35, 65% S&P 500, 35% iShares Nasdaq 100. That's kind of the split generally I'm trying to aim for. With this, we move to another one of my favorite brokers, which is obviously on Interactive Brokers. Amazing broker, really globally available. And yeah, I have a number of videos around the topic of Interactive Brokers. So if you're interested, check it out after this video. But yeah, really, really solid broker. I can really recommend. Yeah, maybe not so many bells and whistles and benefits like eToro, but if security, reliability, international exposure is really something you're interested in, then you can't go wrong with Interactive Brokers. And you see over here my portfolio really developing very, very nicely, up $3,300. But yeah, also to be fair, I did draw down quite a bit recently. As you can see, at the beginning of December, it was at 61,000. That's dollars. I keep everything here in US dollars because it's based in the UAE, my account. But yeah, obviously you can change your base currency. And I took out 10K actually, which I moved some of it to eToro and some of it into Bitcoin. So yeah, I just kind of try to diversify a little bit because I don't want to have too much money only in one broker. I try to balance them across different brokers and crypto as well, of course. But yeah, overall, really happy with them. And when I go into my portfolio, of course, you can see over here, actually, I'm buying only one ETF, not the Nasdaq 100 iShares, because the one I buy in London, actually, I couldn't find over here on the Interactive Brokers. And of course, the fact that I do pay commission in the end for me ends up being more expensive than if I currently buy it through eToro. So that just works better for me in this case. But of course, here with Interactive Brokers, I feel comfortable and I'm very happy to keep my holdings that I have over here and just let it grow and compound over time. Next up, we jump over to my Lightyear portfolio, which is another amazing broker that I really recommend, especially if you live in the UK or Europe. Probably one of the nicest interfaces. I also made a number of videos around them, but really, really can recommend them. And yeah, here I have only one ETF actually. I did set them up just to showcase how I do weekly buys, automated buys actually, where I have it set up. You can see if I jump into this over here and I buy every single week now, completely automated without me even have to think about. Sometimes I'm just being reminded that I get a pop-up, oh, I bought some more shares, because it's fully automated and I don't have to think about it. And that's honestly one of my favorite ways to invest and what I recommend for most people. You can see over here the pending order, basically weekly, every Thursday, one share, and it's just being triggered automatically without me having to think about what I'm buying. Every week I'm buying one share. And yeah, it's really, really nice and actually done really well for me. Obviously, that's not the ETF that I mostly invest in because unfortunately the one I'm buying is not yet available here. Hopefully it will be added soon, but they have a great selection. They keep on growing the offering and honestly can really recommend them. And there you can see, while I still have a small holding at only 2.2 thousand, I'm up already 137 euros, right? So really not too bad, 6.4%. I haven't started it so long ago. You can actually go into the portfolio and then turn on the dots over here so you can see all your buy and sell orders. So you can see my first order was over here and that was on the 5th of August. So only a couple of months ago, and I'm already up by 6%. That's just the power of investing in a low-cost index fund. And for that, definitely Lightyear is an amazing option. With this, let's jump over to yet another broker that I use. Yes, I do have a number of them, but obviously I do this on purpose. First of all, to diversify, right? Just to hedge my risks a little bit. If one goes down, I do have backups. And even though I'm confident I can recover those funds, but it might take some time. So while that might be happening, I have alternative brokers I can be using. And plus, of course, I enjoy trying different platforms and get out the most benefits for me, right? Because each broker offers different benefits because unfortunately there's not one perfect broker. I wish there was, but none of them are perfect. But the ones I use, I think are as close as perfect as possible. And that's why I use a number of them just again to diversify. But yeah, you can see over here my total holding. Most of it is invested, but I do have some free funds over there collecting some interest. I'll come back to this a little bit later. But yeah, right now I buy over here basically 2 holdings that you can see. Again, the same ones, the iShares Nasdaq 100 accumulating one, as well as the SPDR S&P 500, the one in London. And yeah, pretty much 50-50 between the two and has been doing rather well for me. Now, obviously on Trading 212, I was up significantly more previously, but unfortunately I had to move my account from Europe to the UAE not so long ago. And since then, those analytics start again. So unfortunately, that's why it only shows up 3.2% because previously I was up significantly more, but it's just unfortunately how the analytics works over here. But yeah, I'm really happy with this and I'll just continue using that and investing and growing the portfolio on Trading 212, which is honestly one of the simplest interface that you can use, operating in many, many countries around the world. So really, really interesting and without commissions, which I really love. And they also have an amazing card, which I recently made a video about. So definitely, I think it's worthwhile to check out Trading 212 if you haven't yet. With this, we move on to my crypto holdings. And here, of course, I'm using mostly Nexo, where I keep my cryptocurrency on the exchange, even though I always recommend not to keep too much money on the exchange because as the saying goes, not your keys, not your crypto. So if the exchange was to go down, you lose everything. So you want to be very mindful of that. I actually have quite a large portfolio over here at 66K. And I was talking about previously to potentially become a Nexo private client, which you will at 100K or more if you have it over here. And well, I really thought about it. And unfortunately for me, the additional benefits are not that impressive actually. So I don't want to commit to keeping more money over here. I have mostly Bitcoin over here and some stable coin. And I don't want to invest more from my side. But if it naturally grows, the price continues to grow and I do reach over 100K total value, right? Because Bitcoin becomes more valuable. Well, then naturally I'm going to become a private client. But for the time being, I'm not planning to add much more Bitcoin over here because also right now, since I am a silver member, actually, I'm not earning all the interest that I would be wanting to earn. I'll come to this a little bit later when we talk about the passive income for the month, because there's a certain cap. Because over 40K worth of Bitcoin, actually what I'm earning is half the rate that I earn on the first 40K. So that's something to keep in mind as well. Another thing I recently changed my USDT to USDC, because you might have heard that there was the new MiCA rules introduced in Europe, which basically regulates how stable coins are managed and regulated and so forth. And there was a bit of FUD, I would say, people creating a bit of fear with the new MiCA rules in place that USDT is not able to operate in Europe anymore. And again, I'm not an expert in that, and I think a lot of people aren't really, but I prefer to be safe than sorry. So I switched my USDT to USDC, which is the beauty of stable coins. It's 1-to-1. I think it cost me $10 to do so, and then I was safe having USDC. Now, obviously nothing happened because that was obviously supposed to kick in on the 30th December. Since then, nothing really happened. So eventually I might change back to USDT because they do pay a slightly higher interest on that. So it probably makes sense to change back eventually. But yeah, for now, I'm fine with USDC as well. So you can choose either one. And of course, my Nexo tokens there as well. With this, we move on to my Ledger hardware wallet where I keep majority of my cryptocurrency. And yeah, you can see over here, nicely up as well. That's obviously for the month, up 3%. Which, the larger your number gets, obviously the bigger the swings as well, right? That's 2,700 up over there. In total though, it's really difficult for me to track my overall crypto gains because I bought on so many different exchanges, kept on the ledger, then moved it back, and those analytics don't always sync. And I probably missed, that was my fault, to record it manually somewhere, right? So unfortunately, it's really hard for me to really see the exact dollar amount gains that I had from my cryptocurrency. But I know roughly that my average cost price is around 50K, I would say, even though I keep on buying right now at 90,000. I think the most expensive one was recently I bought at 98,000, but that's fine, right? If one day Bitcoin goes to 1 million, 100,000 is still a steal, right? So I continue to dollar cost average. But yeah, what I'm saying is it's a little bit hard to track. I wish there was some central app where you can track all your blockchain activity to bring it together. But yeah, right now I'm just kind of guessing a little bit, but I know definitely that I'm very much in the plus with my overall crypto gains, or mostly Bitcoin gains, I shall say, because as you can see, I'm really a Bitcoin maximalist. Mostly everything is in Bitcoin over there, but I'm really happy with this, and hopefully going forward continue to grow my Bitcoin holding as well. Now, of course, I'm also using the Tangum Card myself, but you can see right now, actually recently I withdrew some of my funds, moved some of it to Nexo, some of it to Ledger, and I really enjoyed the experience. I think it's super simple, super smooth, and if you want to start with your first hardware wallet, I think Tangum is the first choice, definitely, because it's super simple, super easy. But since I started with Ledger, which I also really enjoy, and I feel comfortable with it, I usually use my Tangum Card more for small little transactions to send things around and so forth. So that's really cool, right? When I get paid, for example, sometimes in crypto, I receive on my Tangum Card, and from there I send it to the exchange or to my Ledger hardware wallet. So it's super simple to use. Would I now keep the same amount that I have on my Ledger? Maybe not, just because I feel comfortable with Ledger. I kept it there for years, but it's definitely a great choice, which I can really recommend. If you want to check out Tangum for yourself, then I also have a link down in the description below to get you 10% off of any of their products. Now, another crypto exchange that I will be adding to my portfolio is actually Crypto.com. I used to use them in the past, many years ago, and then they made some changes to the program. I stopped using them. But yeah, now that I'm based in the UAE, it's actually very difficult to get dirhams or US dollars into a crypto exchange. A lot of them make it very painful, it's slow or expensive, and it seems that they make it very simple. You can send dirhams instantly without any fees. So that's why I got interested in them again. And of course, looking at their cards, I think they have really some good options, which I forgot about. Some of those cards where, of course, you have to stake some things and so forth. You can really get some nice rewards over here. They pay for your Netflix. You get airport lounge access, priority support, a lot of perks, to be honest. So yeah, I'm definitely considering to come back to them. I'm going to put there some money, play around a little bit with it. And I'll obviously in the future do an update video on my experience, how it is, whether I can recommend them. But yeah, I'm definitely interested to potentially come back at least with some of my funds onto Crypto.com, because they have been doing also really well over the years. In the beginning, I was a bit hesitant, but yeah, definitely something to check out. And I'll let you know very soon how that experience went. I think that should be all. I hope I didn't forget, because last time I made an update, I forgot one of them, and it just shows you I have too many maybe, but for me it works. I actually do every first of the month my net worth tracker and monthly budget, where I go through, and you'll find the link to the sheet in the description down below, and I go through and list everything. And right now I'm actually looking at it, where I can see my total net worth with all the various holdings that I have. So to really make sure I stay on top of it, because often I try a new app, I send some funds over there, and maybe it's not a large amount, but still, if 500 euros are sitting there, right, and I forget about it, I don't want to waste that money, right? So I want to stay on top of it. So as soon as I send money somewhere, I just go into my sheet, write it down, and I know where the money is. So yeah, I think for now, those parts I have covered. In terms of dividends for last month, unfortunately, I didn't get any. Obviously, I used to get much more dividends when I really was focused on dividend investing, but I am not anymore. I made a video why I shifted away from dividends in the past, just because I didn't see the performance anymore. The dividend gains were less than total returns that I got, for example, from my ETF investments, right? That's why I decided to pivot into a set it and forget it investing style of 2 ETFs, which works for me. And yeah, that's why, of course, my dividends are going down, but ultimately, I think my total net worth is growing faster because the total returns are higher. However, I still will get the dividend, but that will be coming, I believe, in January from my S&P 500 holding. It will be a couple of $100, so not life-changing money, but still a nice little injection, which I can then use to reinvest and buy more of my ETFs of choice. With this, we moved to the cashback for last month, and honestly, it was really crazy. You can see over here 720 dirhams, which equates to around 189 euros, which is really wild, right? On the one hand side, I'm really excited to get that money, because otherwise it would be wasted. But on the other hand, it shows you it was a very expensive December for me, of course. A lot of Christmas gifts and a lot of things that I had to buy, right? My family was visiting here in Dubai, but I also had some business expenses, so it's fair enough. But yeah, overall, still, right? I'm getting 2% cash back on every transaction I do, because that's based on my UAE bank account in Dubai over here, which I can really recommend. With your bank, you can see down here at the bottom left. Amazing, really love it, super experience. And yeah, 2% cash back, really, really nice. And yeah, it's free money, right? So why not have it? With this, we move to the interest that I received for the month of December, starting off on once again with Bank, and here I got 124 dirhams, or around 32 euros, which is not too shabby. Basically, right now I'm getting 3.75% on my dirhams, which has dropped in recent times. Obviously, the dirham is pegged to the dollar, so now that the Fed is lowering the rates, I think it will continue to go down. It's inevitable, we know that. Same in Europe and other countries. It's just happening, right? That's why we have to look for alternatives, and we'll come to this in a second, why I like stablecoins so much. But still, why not make the use out of the cash that I keep for an emergency fund for a rainy day in my bank account over here. On Trading 212, I also got some interest on my cash over here. Here I'm actually getting 4.35% on my dollars. On the euros, it's a little bit less at 3.7, but still, that's arguably the highest rate that you can still get on your euros, pounds, or dollars that I know of anywhere without any lockups. So you can withdraw it anytime. So that's really cool benefit of using Trading 212. And if you're not, definitely check it out. It's really, really attractive. So definitely I'll keep also some of my money over here just to have it ready in case an emergency strikes, or maybe I do see a buying opportunity in the market, a major drop across the markets, and I can use some of this cash to go ahead and immediately buy some of those shares or ETFs or crypto, whatever I want. So definitely makes sense to keep some money on the sideline. Back to Lightyear, you also do get some interest over here, but once again, unfortunately, rates are dropping across the board pretty much for every broker out there. You can see on my cash holding itself, it's now 2% on euro and 3% on the dollar, but you can also move some of your cash holding to the savings. Then it's slightly higher for the euro at 3%. It's a variable rate, but again, still better than nothing. Probably most of your banks, mine included, pays you 0%. And so yeah, why not? Still a better option than leaving your money lose value to inflation. And then we jump over to my Revolut holdings. You can see over here, I have two flexible accounts in euros and dollars. On my euros, I earn 3.08%, and on my dollars, 4.5%. So also very attractive rate. And yeah, both together came to around 40 euros of interest income for the month of December. And the cool thing is it's paid out to me daily. You can see if I jump into, for example, euros, every single day the interest is paid to me, and I can withdraw all the money instantly without any wait. Really love that feature. So I keep it usually over here, and if I have to pay something with my Revolut card, then I literally just go into withdraw it into my account, and then I can use my card to pay with that money. So really, really nifty, and one of the many features why I enjoy using Revolut. And lastly, jumping back into my Nexo holding, you can see over here that I am getting the interest on my stable coins over here, as I've shown you before. If I jump back into the wallet on my USDC holdings, right now I'm actually earning 8.5% interest, which is not too bad. On USDT, it was 9.5%, so slightly better. And that's why I said I probably might switch back to USDT very soon to get that extra percent of interest for sure. But yeah, you see every single day I was earning around $9, which comes to around 270 euros in a month, which is really not too shabby. Obviously, the highest part comes from the stable coin because they do pay such a high interest. On my Bitcoin, I earn significantly less, but still, right now that's 4.5% that I do earn on my Bitcoin. It's paid out to me on Nexo. I could also earn in Bitcoin. Then it would be, I believe, 1% less, but I'm happy to increase my Nexo holdings for the time being. Once I get to a higher level, I will earn even higher interest, and then I will switch back to earn in Bitcoin instead. But yeah, really nice way to get additional income on your cryptocurrency. Last month of last year was actually really good for me in terms of cashback, as I've shown you, 189 euros, plus the passive income from the interest without dividends, as I didn't have any, was 361 euros. So together, those two are 550 euros alone, just in a way from passive income, which is not too shabby, right? Just by utilizing my money to get more money from it. And since one of you asked me during last month's update to also put the total of my portfolio overall, which was actually a good idea, the current total of my portfolio now comes to 249,587 euros. So almost $250,000, pretty much there. Really excited about it. Obviously, I'm not including real estate in this number, which is my biggest part of my holding. And that's why I think in the future, very soon, I will make an update on my overall net worth to kind of share that. Not to brag or anything, but just to kind of also motivate some of you, because when I started myself, for me, looking at those numbers was like crazy, right? And now I can see myself going through the journey and starting to see the compounding of growth, right? Imagine on 250,000 euros, if I manage to grow 10%, as we always expect, right? That's the market returns. If I continue to invest in the market like S&P 500 and NASDAQ 100, what have you, across the board, let's say 10% return on that would be, without any additional investments, 25,000 euros gain on that number for 2025, which would be absolutely crazy, just literally by keeping my money over there and letting it grow over time. That's the power of investing, of compound growth over time. I'm super excited about it, and I can't wait to continue the journey, take you guys with me, and hopefully together make sure our portfolios will grow very nicely. With this, guys, thanks a lot for watching. Thanks a lot for your support. Have an amazing start to 2025. And with this, most important, stay healthy, get wealthy. Let's see you guys very soon. Ciao.